Today I'm going to be creating a compilation of videos that I have to show you exactly how you're going to post your first YouTube video. Now the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to actually script your video. So YouTube scripts usually consist of 3 things. 1 is the hook, 2 is the main content, and 3 is the outro. The hook is one of the most important parts because this is what gets people to continue to watch your content. So this is for like all my long-winded people. This is not the time to do that. Get to the point as soon as possible. I think this is especially important for like when you're just starting out on YouTube. Depending on what your channel is about, when you first start, no one really cares what you're doing or honestly sometimes what you're saying. So they just came to get information that you have for them. And also, people have the attention span of a goldfish. So if people see your thumbnail and then they see your title and they click on it, they're expecting you to deliver on that content. And if you don't start delivering on it, like basically as soon as possible, they're leaving. 3 things that you could do to spice up your hook is to make a bold statement. So if there's something controversial in your industry and you believe it, then you should start the video off that way so that, piques their interest. The second way you can do this is show a teaser of what's to come in the video. I see this a lot with like podcast trailers. They'll use an interesting clip from the podcast and they'll put it in the front and then they'll talk about what it's about. And then the third way is to basically ask a question that your audience is struggling with, and this piques their interest and they're actually hoping that you can help them with this problem. The next part of the script is the main content. So this is going to be you delivering on whatever you said you were going to inside of the hook. You're going to do whatever it takes to deliver on that information, and you're also going to try to keep it straight to the point. Now, some good things to, make a connection with the audience. You can weave in some stories about maybe what you went through or, what you see other people doing, but always make sure that it has to do with the content and that it's not just a random story. I do think it's a time and a place for tangents or like, going off topic. Like for example, I think live video, I think you have a really good chance of like doing that there and it's okay, but specifically for YouTube videos that are supposed to be informational, that's not good to do. All right, and the last and one of the most important parts of the video, once people actually do get to the end, is the outro. And this is where you're gonna ask for the sale. Now, when I'm saying sale, I'm not even really referring to like direct sales like you get paid for it. A sale can be something else that you deem as a win. So after you have delivered all the content, all the gems in your video, what exactly do you want people to do next? You have to tell people what you want them to do. Now, the outro for business owners is usually some sort of call to action. And it all depends on, what your goals are at the time. So it might be to increase your reach. It may be to grow your audience. It may be to get more, downloads on your lead magnet, people to your email list, the list goes on. And depending on what that goal is, that's what your call to action would be. So some common call to actions are subscribe to my channel, book a call. I know you've heard all over the internet when you're just starting out to create video content, you should be using your phone. And I am a big believer in that. Phones, they have really great quality nowadays and they can sometimes create videos just as good as cameras, especially if you don't know how to use a camera. But what are the pros and the cons of using your phone versus a camera? And when should you switch over? We're going to talk about that today. Now, we all have phones and, we all know the capabilities of them. So before I talk about the pros, I actually want to talk about some of the cons that people don't think about when, they're using their phones. So the first thing is phones run out of storage super fast, especially if you're like recording in 4K or you're recording in like a super high quality. Your storage will go super fast and you will have no room for anything else. Another thing is the lack of creative control within the original settings. So you can change the brightness and you can even go in and maybe change the tint of the video or maybe even the frame rate. That's about the only thing that you can change without downloading like additional apps to, help you change some other things like the focus and stuff like that. Third thing is the battery life. When you're recording content, having a content day or maybe even live streaming. Creating all of this content does soak up your battery super fast, and sometimes it even makes the phone super hot. And it's not like you can just pop another battery back in. If the phone dies, you actually have to, either charge it while you're recording the content, which can make it even hotter, or you'll have to, wait for it to charge again. The last thing we want to go over is transferring footage from your phone to your laptop. If you've ever tried to transfer iPhone 4K footage to certain laptops, it either takes forever or, it's sometimes very complicated. And then with that, also editing. If you've ever tried to edit iPhone videos on certain video editors like Premiere Pro, it'll actually completely go blank because the video editor doesn't want to recognize it, and you'll have to choose some different type editor, or your computer won't even open the files depending on what type of computer you have. So that's the drawbacks of using your phone for content versus a camera. Are you thinking about switching from a phone to a camera or from a camera to a phone, and why? Let me know in the comments. As far as the good reasons for using an iPhone, the pros, there is tons of them. So first thing, very easy to use. Everyone knows how to use their phone. You just take it out your pocket, left or right, and then the camera is right there. Very easy learning curve. And then also, most of the times, the settings are already there and ready to go. You don't have to really fix the brightness. You don't really have to, figure out the aperture or anything. I mean, there are apps that you can use to get creative with that stuff, but most of the time, it's right there and easy to use. And also, everything else you need is on there too. So like editing, all the apps that you're going to be uploading the content to, they're all most likely on the phone right there ready for you. You don't have to use any other devices. And then the last thing, phones are super easy to carry. You take them everywhere. And even if you didn't want to go handheld with your phone, they have other things like gimbals and also tripods that you can use to hold your phone up. So moving over to cameras. So just like the phones, we're going to go over to the cameras and talk about the cons first. So if you've never used a camera before, then very steep learning curve. Sometimes when you turn your camera on, the settings aren't where you need them to be. Like, you're going to have to fix that. I will say once you learn how to, use your camera, the more you use it, the better you get. But when you first get it, it's definitely a learning curve that you're going to have to figure out. Also, depending on what type of content you make and whether you're going to be holding your camera or not, it is slightly heavier or a lot heavier depending on what camera you get than your phone. Another thing is editing. Now, unlike your iPhone, your camera does not come with apps on it that you'll be able to edit. If they do have any, please let me know, because that sounds like a great idea. You're gonna need some type of device to edit these videos on. So whether that be your iPad or your laptop, you're gonna need something to be able to handle all these files. Now let's talk about the pros. The number one reason why people usually switch from phones to cameras is the quality. They want to up their content game. They want to look more professional. They want a certain type of look. So cameras have so many different lenses that you can choose from that gives you different looks. Or maybe your phone camera doesn't do well in low lighting and you need, some people usually get cameras. Another thing is battery life. Cameras are made to create content. So it's like, I know my camera, it can last a whole 8 hours. And even if it does die, you're able to just, put another battery in and continue what you were doing. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know, this might just be me, but one of the reasons why I use cameras is because it's less of a distraction than my phone. So, if you're recording videos and stuff on your phone, notifications can come down, somebody can call you, and then you're just like completely taken out of what you were doing. But when I'm recording content, I can put my phone on the other side of the room and I can record content from my camera and knock all of those out and then go back to my phone later. But I like being able to separate the two devices for what they are. So as you can see, phones and cameras, they have a lot of the same similarities. So when is a good time for you to actually make the switch from a phone to a camera? So the number one reason is you're ready to upgrade your quality. Maybe you want your videos to look more professional, or you want a certain look. Maybe your phone doesn't do well in low lighting situations and you need something, that's going to make your videos a little brighter. Number two, you need more storage. You're creating content daily, or you're creating content, multiple times a week or multiple times a month, and your phone's just not able to hold it all anymore. You want something else or something different that holds all your content. And the last reason is,
technical knowledge. You just want to learn more about the art of photography or videography, and you figured all there is to know about iPhone photography and videography, and you want to take it up to the next level and get an actual camera to see how you would do with that. So I hope at this point in the video you have a very strong idea on if you're still going to use your phone, or maybe if you're going to start using a camera. If you're looking to up your video content, then I have a free guide on how to create video content from start to finish, and you can find that in the link in the description box.
Getting on camera can be very nerve-wracking. Trust me, as a videographer who used to be behind the camera instead of in front of it, when I first made the shift, I was like, let's just say it was very awkward. But with some guidance and some practice, it will slowly become something that you're nervous to do to something that feels like it's second nature. So today I'm going to give you some tips that I wish I knew before I got on camera to make you feel more confident and comfortable. Now, the first thing is actually knowing what you're talking about. Now, I know this is like a no-brainer, but when you're first getting on camera, you don't really want to start off with topics that you're just learning and you're having a hard time trying to explain, because you don't really have much experience with that yet. So you should start off with easier topics that you've been working on for years, that you're more knowledgeable about. So that'll make you more excited to share on camera, because you've been talking about it for years. And it also helps that you've probably talked to other people about this topic already. So just pretend like you're talking to one of them when they're asking you a question. Number two, wear something that you're comfortable in. Video is a visual, auditory, and sometimes emotional experience all in one. So if you're uncomfortable, people are going to be able to see that in the way that you talk or either your body language. Also, you don't always have to get super dressed up or wear a suit every single time you get on camera. Taking me as an example, sometimes I might wear a tank top in a video, other times I might be super dressed up. Honestly, it depends on the day, and both are completely fine. The third thing is to make sure your camera is set up at a flattering angle. A good rule of thumb is to have the camera at or above your eye line so you can actually look into the camera when you're speaking, but you can also play around with where the camera is. So maybe you want the camera to be on the side instead of in front of you, or maybe you want it to be a little farther back instead of all in your face. Even in some instances, I know when some people get really jittery, they would rather stand when they're talking rather than sit down because they just have so much energy. So definitely test out what makes you the most comfortable and then press the record button. Number four is make sure there is good lighting. Think about good lighting in your videos the same way you think about it when you're trying to take a selfie. You always want to be facing the light. So whether this is an external light, like a ring light, or whether it's the light from your window, just make sure it's not dark when you're actually doing the video. Good lighting gives off a good vibe and it makes you look better. Number five is talk slower than you normally would. I know at first this is going to be something that you're just going to want to get over with, but when we are nervous, we naturally want to speed up our talking. So you might be talking faster than you realize. And also, talking slower gives you more of a chance to breathe in, and it gives the viewer a chance to take in what you just said. Number six is don't worry about the small mistakes that you make. There are three things that I do with my video clients to help them not worry about the small mistakes. The first thing I do is I actually don't tell them when I hit the record button. The second thing is I tell them to start when they're ready. The third thing is when they make a small mistake, I tell them to don't even worry about it and just take a deep breath and keep going. There's something about pressing the start button that freezes people up and makes them jittery. So by just continuing to say what you were saying instead of like starting over, it helps you to get through the video faster. Number eight is you can bring somebody that you're already comfortable talking to. So I remember when I was creating my first brand message video, I was super nervous. So I actually brought my cousins there to help me direct the video for myself. So they would sit behind the camera and they would ask me the questions. And just a simple reminder, drink water and take a deep breath. The more you show up on video, the easier it will get. Just keep trying and have the idea in your mind that with every video, I get better. I'm going to be showing you how I edit out my filler words super fast using Premiere's text-based editing. And then I'm also going to show you the rest of my editing process. Okay, so first we are going to take our video and we are going to drag it over to the timeline. And Premiere is going to automatically transcribe the video. Now, if you don't see this window, you can just go to Window and then Text, and then it'll pop up over here. And what you're going to want to go to is the transcripts. Now, you guys are also going to sort of see the behind the scenes of how I record my videos. So first thing you're going to do is remove these little 3 dots. So these little 3 dots with the brackets around them, that is, anytime you see that, that is basically like the long pauses that you may take in between talking. Now, since I use a script for my video, every time I can't remember something, I'll basically have to look over because, you know, my attention span and my memory is freaking horrible. It looks like I said this quite a few times, so I'm just gonna find the last time that I said it. So it's looked like it's up to here, and we're going to basically go over that and press the backspace button, and it should delete it, right? And now we can play it. Every video that you create has a purpose, and as a business owner, see, look, I forgot what I said. Your videos should have the goal of eventually making sales. Okay, so we're gonna remove that long pause. So I am actually going to speed this along so we can get to the next part of the video edit. But this generally takes me anywhere from like, you know, 30 minutes to sometimes an hour if I sit here. And let's see, looking at my camera, I think it says I did this in 23 minutes, probably less, because I did have to do a few things while I was recording this video, but okay, let's see. All right, so next, we are gonna put some transitions on the video. Now, there's actually one of my favorite transitions, and I use it in Premiere Pro, so it is actually a transition that I downloaded. I forgot the website I got it from off of, but I got it like a while ago. And I basically like to put these in like every place there is a transition in what I'm talking about. So there was one right there, and you gotta make sure that the transition is in the middle of these 2 lines. All right, I also wanna put one right here. I wanna put one right here, and I'm gonna save it real quick, make sure it's saved, just in case, you know, something happens. You always wanna save. And then the last place I wanna put it is right, it looks like it's already right there. So I actually also want to change the color of these because I like my videos to personally be on brand with me. I like me to be associated with a certain color, and that color is my brand. And I can just click it and basically edit my colors from here. And we're gonna change this color as well to my other brand. And then now we're changing the last one. All right. Now that we have that in here, I also want to add my graphic that I always add, and that is my name callout card. So I don't introduce myself in my videos. I feel like it's not a waste of time, but I feel like, again, like how I was mentioning in this video, it's like, you know, I don't want to take up more time by introducing myself. I just want to get like straight into the content. The more time that you're introducing yourself and you're like, yeah, this is what I do, you know, that's more chances for people to leave. So I want them to stay for like as long as possible. And that's also like another reason why I haven't made an intro for my YouTube channel yet. I do plan on making one soon, but even when I make one of those, it's going to be super short, sweet, and to the point. All right, so we did that. Every video that you create has a purpose, and as a business owner, now guys, I did turn the quality down in Premiere just so, you know, it wouldn't take up so much power. I'm gonna save it. All right, we added that. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to create title screens inside of Canva. Now, personally, I don't like overcomplicating things. I like to use templates for my videos to make it go by faster when I do add them in there. So this is a template that I use pretty frequently, and it's basically like the same title screen, but different words in each one, you know? And again, keeping like my branding there. So, you know, I talked about intro, so we're gonna put intro here. I spelled that wrong. I'm gonna put intro. Main content. And then outro or call to action. And then I'm going to download those last 3 title screens. And I'm going to download them as separate files so I don't have to separate them when I put them inside the video editing software. And I'm going to wait for that to download. And then while this is doing this, I'm actually going to go find music to add to the background of my videos. So this is one of the programs that I use to find copyright music. I think it's a little less overwhelming than a YouTube Studio. So let's see, I guess I would use like maybe like pop music maybe in the background of my videos. So let's see, let's listen to a few. No. Absolutely not. Okay, maybe not pop music. Okay, let's see what type of music bloggers have. Nope. See, I like that one. That one's like way more chiller, okay? So we're gonna take this one. We're gonna download that. So we're gonna get the music, and then we're gonna get the title screens. So we're gonna put the music down below. And we're gonna make sure it covers the whole bottom. And then cut where it ends off at. And then we're basically gonna make sure the audio is not overpowering what I'm saying. So this is music. We are going to turn it down. So I usually think like -16 is a good, or -17 is like a good stopping point for audio, or at least for the clip volume in Premiere Pro for me. So let's see how it sounds. So YouTube scripts usually consist of 3 things. Okay. So we're also going to want to duck it against the music, so you know the audio actually goes behind what I'm saying. Also, don't forget to subscribe because it's actually a series that I'm doing. Okay, it's still a little loud. So we're gonna turn it down even more. Let's see how that sounds. On YouTube, on how to generate sales on this platform. And the next 2 videos are about thumbnail. Okay, now let me turn it up a little bit more. In video editing. So YouTube scripts usually consist of 3 things. 1 is the hook, 2 is the main content, and 3 is the outro. All right, so this is it's still a little loud for me, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit more. I really have a thing about music it has to be like the perfect sound to me, or I'm just gonna remove it. Hook is one of the most important parts because this is what gets people to continue to watch your content. So this is for like all my long-winded people. This is not the time to do that. All right. So it's at a good sound for me, and now I'm basically going to come over here and put it at the same volume on the other clip because it does not do that automatically. Okay, so we're going to go over here to music, and then we're also going to duck it. So we're going to go back, listen to it. Every video that you create has a purpose, and as a business owner, your videos should have the goal of eventually making sales. So today I'm going to tell you how to script your YouTube videos to generate sales in your business. Also, don't forget to... All right. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to get the right title screen. It says hook. I'm gonna put that there. And 3 is the outro. The hook is one of the most important parts because this is what gets people to continue to watch your content. The next part of the script is the main. All right, so the main content. You can help them with this problem. The next part of the script is the main content. So this is going to be you delivering on whatever you say you were going to inside of the hook. You're going to do whatever it takes to deliver on that information, and you're also going to try to keep it straight to the point. All right. We're gonna bring this actually down here because I misplaced that. All right, so we're gonna put the last title slide right here. All right, and one of the most important parts of the video, once people actually do get to the end, is the outro. Okay, so I'm actually gonna bring this down here. That are supposed to be informational, that's not good to do. All right, and one of the most important parts of the video, once people actually do get to the end, is the outro. And this is where you're going. All right, so that's basically what I do in a nutshell. I also might add B-roll, captions, depending on what type of video it is. Now, if you want to see how this video turned out, if you didn't already watch it, go ahead and go 2 videos back. That is where you will find this video. Now, this is actually a service that I provide to my video editing clients. I remove all the likes, the ums, the pauses, all the weird things that may be in the video. And then I add in extra things like transitions, B-rolls, title slides, and other cool things like that. And I typically edit YouTube videos and also short video content like Reels and TikToks. So if this is something that you're looking to outsource and this is something that you need, definitely click below in the description box where you can book a free call and we can talk about it. So today I'm going to be talking about my process of how I create thumbnails. So the first thing that I usually do is I actually batch create the actual photos that I'm going to use inside of my thumbnails. So in my specific thumbnails, I usually have me on there and then I'll have like text on the side. But what I realized is like sometimes after I then filmed the video, scripted it and did all that stuff, that I would forget to take my thumbnail photo at the very last, before I'm uploading it to YouTube. And I was like, okay, this is not good. So that is when I actually just started to reuse the photos that I already had. And then eventually I was like, okay, so if I'm already reusing the photos that I already have, I might as well just like batch create my thumbnail photos. So that's when I started taking a day, every 2 to 3 months, and I would just switch out 2 to 3 outfits, and then I would, reuse these photos that I took for my thumbnails. Now, eventually, I probably won't even have to create new thumbnails, or, I won't have to do it as often because of how many pictures I actually take in one sitting. But now we're gonna go into, how I actually create them. All right, so since this thumbnail had a pretty good click-through rate for me, it was like 3.0 or something like that. I am going to basically recreate how I did this thumbnail, right? I usually have my photos that I take, and I have this sort of like master thumbnail document. So this is all the thumbnails that I've ever used on YouTube. And again, I will reuse some of the photos that I've taken before and put them on new thumbnails. It'll just be like a different topic. Like, for example, this one and this one, I use the same sort of like pointy finger photo. Now, this one actually did really good. This video actually did really good compared to like my normal videos. And this one is doing actually kind of bad in my opinion. So, I think it's really good to like test them out basically. And then I want to show you guys another example of how I use the same photo like 3 times. Let me just move them like close to each other so you can see. Okay, so another example of how I use the same photo in 3 separate thumbnails. So it was this one, I did this one, and then I also did this one. Each of these 3 videos uses the same photo. This one is just like switched around the other way. And at the time, I noticed that, I don't know, for some reason this photo did like really good, or maybe it's the way that I'm, editing the actual thumbnails, but anytime I use this picture right here, it actually performed kind of well in my opinion. All right, now to the actual like creation process. So I'll usually just like add another page, and sometimes I'll just use, my brain colors, and I'll just put a solid color background. But what I've actually started to do is I actually started to use like my desk background, and then I'll put my photo on top of that. So I usually just copy and paste the same photo, the background of my desk area, and this is what the photo originally looks like. But I put the actual transparency down a little bit just so like, it can still look like some of my other thumbnails with the solid colors. I'm like really big on branding. And then I'll either just go look at one of my other thumbnails and see if there's a photo I can grab from there. So in this case, I actually did reuse this picture again for the 3rd time, and I'll copy and I'll paste that photo onto my, thumbnail picture. And then depending on what the video is actually about, I'll put like some text on there going kind of deeper into what the title was. I believe the title of this YouTube video was, 5 video ideas to make more sales on YouTube. So then I like typed out more sales, and then I made it super big. I think this was the font that I used. I changed it to white, and then to make it pop a little bit more, I actually lifted it from the background, and then I outlined it and changed the outline color to green. So now it like definitely pops out against the background. And then since I was talking about YouTube, I also put the YouTube logo on here just so like people can know that like I'm talking about YouTube. So if they didn't see it on the title, then they definitely see it on the YouTube symbol. And then I probably felt like there was still something missing, so I just like searched for money inside of, the Canva, and then I think this is the one that I used, and I just put it sort of like on both sides of the words. I really try to make my thumbnails pop out, and thumbnails are something I'm still practicing, but this is actually one of like my favorite parts of the YouTube video creation process, just because I don't make graphics very often, but it's something that I know how to do. So I personally find this part of the process like really fun. So let me see the other one. Okay, so there were the signs, or the money was like slightly smaller. And yeah, it looks something like this. So yeah, I do know that this specific thumbnail did really good compared to like some of my other ones. This is like one of my, probably like in my top 3 or top 5 videos that I've created. So yeah, this is my thumbnail process. If you made it to the end here, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more content like this, hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.